Aether Revolt Standard has begun and there is so much to talk about. Expect a ton of coverage this week. We'll begin today with arguably the most hyped interaction in the format coming into this past weekend. That's right. We're talking Saheeli Rai and Felidar Guardian. In this video, we're going to tech one of the top decks from this weekend's SCG Open, courtesy of Robert Graves, to show you what Standard is looking like. If you enjoy these deck techs and want more of them in the future, be sure to hit that like button, helps out a lot. 4-color Saheeli is an interesting deck. To fully understand it, we'll begin with the Spotlight interaction. Say hello to Saheeli Rai and Felidar Guardian, both playsets. In case you haven't heard yet, the combo works like this. You play Saheeli, then play the Guardian, use the Guardian's ability to exile Saheeli and bring her back. Then you use Saheeli's -2 to copy the Guardian. The copy's trigger targets Saheeli, you blink her, she comes back with 3 loyalty, you create a copy of the Guardian, so on and so on, until you have a million Felidar Guardians with haste that attack for super lethal. Think of it as the standard Splinter Twin combo. Anyways, this deck is designed around getting this combo online, but unlike many other combo decks, this strategy doesn't actually need both pieces to put up a fight. Let me explain. Both Saheeli and Felidar Guardian have powerful abilities, so when building this deck, the Brewers took that into consideration and filled the rest of the strategy with cards that synergize with both of the combo pieces. That way, even if you don't get the combo, you can still be quite formidable, and let me tell you, totally worked. We'll begin with the creatures. The deck runs a playset of Servant of the Conduit. This 2-mana 2/2 energy producer is a perfect example of what this deck is looking to do. Notice the Servant has an Enter the Battlefield ability. That synergizes with both Saheeli and the Guardian, allowing you to jump ahead in energy production. One blink and you'll have as much energy as you could possibly want, which is important in a 4-color deck, something to keep in mind. The mana, definitely not perfect, but we'll get to that a bit later. The deck also runs a playset of Rogue Refiner, one of my favorite new cards. Under a normal lens, this may not seem spectacular, but we know we're running Saheeli and the cat. With a blink, this becomes insane. Even without it though, 2 energy, a card, and a 3/2, that isn't so bad. Notice this is another energy producer, we'll get back to that in a second as well. Our only other creature playset is Spell Queller. This is a no-brainer. Unlike most other cards in this deck, the Queller doesn't need to synergize with anything else to be good. It's Spell Queller. The card provides a solid attacker, blocker, counterspell. It's everything you want in a control card. And while this deck doesn't need to rely on the combo to win, it sure as heck feels good when you can protect it better. Spell Queller is great protection. Moving to the very top of our creature curve, a pair of Cloudblazer. I know I didn't expect this originally either, but wow. After some match grinding, this human scout is the real deal, no doubt. That Enter the Battlefield trigger, even without blinking, ends up being very useful. Gaining 2 life mattered more than I thought it would, and going up 2 cards, especially when your opponent is sitting back on counter magic waiting for you to combo off, delicious, absolutely delectable. Cloudblazer in this deck, with this many copy and blink effects, one of the best inclusions for sure. This thing is nuts if it hits the battlefield. The last few creatures in the deck really bring it all together. Shielded Aether Thief and Whirler Virtuoso. Welcome to the energy production machine. You know how we've been talking about random energy producers, the Servant, Rogue Refiner? Both of those producing energy synergize with these 2 energy hogs. The Aether Thief is interesting for a few reasons. Not only are you going to be able to draw cards with this as much as you want based on your other energy production, but it's a 4 toughness creature at 2 mana. You'll see as the week goes on, but there are new aggro decks to worry about, and the Aether Thief is a nice early game wall to stave off some bleeding in the first few turns. It doesn't synergize with blinking all that much, but it's a solid inclusion in this new meta. Whirler Virtuoso though, that's the real all-star. If your combo can't get off the ground, if you're stuck with a Saheeli or a Guardian, your blink and copy effects couldn't go to a better target. The Virtuoso creates a massive amount of energy on each entry to the battlefield, fueling its own ability enough for 1 activation each time. Welcome to how the rest of the deck works. If you can't get the combo online, you turn into the grindiest, most annoying deck ever, pooping out Thopters left and right, gaining incremental card advantage and energy production. It becomes a true nightmare. And that's this deck's true value, the versatility. You don't need the combo to win, because the rest of your creature base is designed to make your opponent hate themselves. With only a few blink effects, a few energy producers entering the battlefield, your Virtuoso is going to create an army of 1/1 Thopters that most decks simply aren't prepared to deal with properly. They'll be spending their time waiting for your combo, but you're smacking them in the air for a couple points each turn. Welcome to attrition heaven. Moving into spells, we're looking at a few repeat offenders. A playset of Harness Lightning and 3 Attune with Aether are expected. The Lightning is a better than average removal spell in a deck full of energy production, and Attune with Aether not only helps mana fixing, but also gets us even more energy to use. There's energy everywhere. You'd be hard pressed to play a game with this deck and not get enough energy to do whatever you want. Anyways, alongside the Lightning, the deck includes a pair of Shock, which is just great for the meta. Solid way to wreck a Saheeli after her -2 trigger cost is paid, kills half the creatures in the mirror match, as well as a decent number against other top decks we'll talk about later this week. Shock has always been a solid card, it's an easy include here. Next up is a pair of Prophetic Prism. Yes, the mana really needs this much help, and honestly, the card's a great include. Not only are you getting a card on entry to the battlefield, but you get solid mana fixing, and delicious synergy with Saheeli's -2. Remember, it can copy an artifact. Oh yeah, feels nice. Prophetic Prism, unexciting but strong in a 4-color deck looking to gain blink value and get its mana right. The last main deck card is Oath of Nissa, a full playset. This, along with Attune, make our mana primarily green and for good reason. Oath helps you dig for mana, dig for Guardian, or dig for Saheeli. It's a one-stop shop for card filtering, and that second ability might come in handy in a 4-color deck. Of course, that's just a minor bump. You're playing this for the amazing Enter the Battlefield ability. Too bad it isn't blinkable. Oh wait, it is! The Guardian exiles target permanent. Synergy in this deck, all day, just forever. Man, I love this strategy so much. The deck looks hilarious, right? Let's take a gander under the hood and see what our land situation is like. The deck runs a playset of Botanical Sanctum, 3 Inspiring Vantage, and 1 Spirebluff Canal as dual lands. Doesn't seem so formidable until you add in the playset of Aether Hub that can be blinked by the Guardian for more energy and free mana production. After that, you're looking at 2 Evolving Wilds, 4 forests, 1 plains, 1 island, and 1 mountain. Gotta love that Evolving Wilds Attune with Aether fetch goodness. Now, you may notice something. There are only 21 lands. Quite low for a 4-color deck, but consider this. 2 Prophetic Prism, 3 Attune with Aether, 4 Servant of the Conduit, and 4 Oath of Nissa. The mana base in this deck, while terrifying to look at, is being handheld the entire time. Trust me, it isn't actually that bad at all, surprisingly. If you do decide to fiddle with the base, be extra sure that you keep the amount of green mana lands high, like over 60% high. It is necessary for success. If you can't cast Attune with Aether or Servant early, you're probably dead. Let's talk overview then sideboard. 4-color Saheeli is a combo deck that looks like it has a one-track mind, but then completely surprises you with a tempo-based attrition machine. While Saheeli and the Guardian together are quite powerful and will win you plenty of games, don't be scared if you don't get the combo online or it's interrupted. The deck is designed so that happening isn't the end of the world. Remember that every permanent you own is blinkable with Felidar Guardian. Remember that your opponents will leave up mana to deal with your combo, so you can use your energy producers like the Refiner and Cloudblazer to force their hand or punish them for not playing more proactively. Your deck is not aggressive, so early removal with the Lightning and Shock will be useful. The goal is to keep the board relatively clear until you can get a few energy producers down. Getting overrun is the quickest way to a loss. You're not a pure combo deck, but you have the same pitfalls as one. Be wary of aggro and don't be afraid to use early removal. I repeat that because it is that important. If you're looking at potential sideboard inclusions, these next few weeks are going to be insane, so any sideboard staple may not be a staple in a month. With that said, aggro is everywhere, so another few Shielded Aether Thief, good decision. Also be sure to get some counter magic in there, like Negate or Dispel for other non-creature based annoyances. Many mirror matches will be more spell focused, so again, counter magic is important. Vehicles is still a deck, couldn't hurt to have some natural state in the board. Oath of Chandra is amazing against creature-based decks, as it does synergize with the Guardian. Blinking it lets you bolt something, never a bad thing, free value, worthy of a sideboard slot in creature-based board stall matches, or really against aggro decks, honestly. Last general sideboard suggestion, I would say that Radiant Flames is a solid anti-creature measure you can use here. It isn't the perfect answer, but there will never be another time that Radiant Flames will be this good again. I mean, come on, we're running 4 colors here, right? If you can't use it here, then where? Alright, the very last thing I have to say, no matter what, I mean no matter what, do not remove your entire combo during sideboarding, never, ever, ever, ever. Both cards are so synergistic with the rest of your deck that you don't have to remove them if the combo is being targeted. That's part of the beauty of it. Let them worry about your combo. You use both pieces individually for their strengths. Seriously, never remove it. You can come down a bit on each card, but never remove it completely. Fair warning, just looking out for you. So what do you think of 4-color Saheeli? Is this a deck that you might consider playing in this new standard environment? Personally, I had a load of fun testing variations of this. Pulling off the combo felt so good. Honestly, I felt like I was in Modern. Downright hilarious. Anyways, be sure to tune in the rest of the week for more Aether Revolt standard coverage. We'll be bringing you everything you need to know right here. Exciting stuff. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. With new standard here, we gotta talk staples. If 4-color Saheeli is a deck you're considering building, now is the time to get some of the underpriced staples. Did you know that near-mint copies of Spell Queller are down to $6 now? I know, right? Lower than I would have guessed. The card is still incredibly powerful, so if you need them, you should get them. Not a fan? No problem. How about Botanical Sanctum? That's right, you can't forget about the dual lands. You need them to make the strategy work. Luckily, they are dirt cheap considering their power. You can get copies for $3 each right now. $3. That seems low to me. Need either of these? Click the links in the video. Helps the channel. Hugs for everyone. Enjoy.
Wow.